If you've ever tried to get into local image or video generation, you know just how frustrating the learning process can be. And if you haven't explored programs like ComfyUI because you're overwhelmed by the complexity of it, this is the video for you. I'm sure if you have tried ComfyUI before, you've shared an experience that goes something like this. You spend an hour just getting the program launched. You download a workflow, half the nodes are missing, you're hunting down custom node packs that won't install for whatever reason, something's incompatible with your installed ComfyUI version, and 3 hours later, you still haven't made a single image or video.
I give up!
This video is an overview of the best local generation UI out there, SimpliGen. SimpliGen is basically a desktop app that takes the whole mess and turns it into a super intuitive one-stop UI, and it's tailored specifically with AI influencers in mind.
SimpliGen just solved all of my headaches, and I can't believe more people don't know about this yet.
I'm going to walk you through the app, show you the character creation and consistency system that they use natively within SimpliGen, how you can build your very own AI influencer, how local versus cloud works, and all of the insane features that have been packed into this awesome program. If you're wondering where you can get it, you can grab SimpliGen through the link in the description below. It's a one-time purchase, super affordable, there's no subscriptions attached, and it's updated every week, multiple times a week in some cases, and the installation is pretty straightforward as well. Let's look at the layout before we start generating anything. On the left, you've got your main sections. Generate is where you'll spend most of your time, and I will be walking you through the simple generation process. And then you have Enhance, which covers upscaling and post-processing on stuff you've already made. Below that is your library. Characters is where saved faces and personas live, so once you build a consistent character, you can pull it back up instead of starting from scratch. And right below it, products works the same way, but for product shots, it's useful if you're doing UGC style ad content. Then you've got the studios. UGC Studio and Product Studio are more guided, template-driven flows for specific types of content, and we'll touch on those a bit later. And then under Assets, Gallery is every image and video you've generated, filterable by model, date, media type, and so on. And below that, the prompt library lets you save and organize prompts you want to reuse. And then finally, we have the marketplace. This is basically just a preset store, even though these are all free and installable locally on your own device. So this is essentially where you will download every single model that you want to use. And as you can see, they have all different types of models. This is just for image creation. There's models like ZImage and ZImage Turbo, QuenImage, Crea2, Flux2, HiDream, FireRed, Ernie, Bugu, and so on. At the top of the preset store, you can also filter by video models, and they have all of the most up-to-date local models that you can use, such as LTX 2.3 and WAN 2.2. And there's even NSFW options if that is what you are looking to generate here. Under the characters section, these are all the models that are compatible with the characters that you create natively within inside of SimpliGen. Under the upscale section, there are upscalers like the RTX Upscaler and Seed VR2. Under the UGC recipes, you can install templates that have your character presenting a certain product or your character using that product. And under the product recipes section, there are templates in which you can advertise and show off your product without a character. So heading over to the character section, let's build a character from scratch so you can see the whole process and just how simple it actually is. So first you'll need to click New Character and then give it a name, a gender, a bio, and a location. The bio and location are optional and just tagged on as metadata, so we can skip over this. So I'm just going to name this new character Alice. She's a woman, and then I'm going to click Next. Now you can see here, we could either upload a picture of Alice if we already have a picture generated, or we can generate a base and start from scratch. I'm going to start from scratch. So if you're generating a base, then you'll see here that we have to completely create and customize our character. There are sections such as body type, hair, eyes, skin, and so on. So I'm going to go through and create our character. So you'll see as I go through and select all the different physical attributes of our character, it will add on to this prompt preview we can see over here. So I'm going to go with an athletic body and kind of just go through all of these. For the hair, I'm going to go with a bob. And as you can see here, we can also fully describe and customize the hair if the preset is not available for whatever you're looking for. So if I want a different hair color than these presets here, I can just describe it in my own words. For the eyes, I'm going to go for green eyes. And for the eyebrows, we will just do straight eyebrows. We'll do a light skin tone with no freckles. For the face shape, let's go with a oval face. Cheekbones will be soft and full lips. For the age and ethnicity, we are going to do a young adult, and she will be white. Under style and makeup, let's just select a neutral expression, no makeup, and no accessories. We'll leave that blank. And then the final section, there is a fine details section in which you can specify even further how you want your character to look, but I think this is good, so we are just going to click Next. And now you'll need to select a preset in which you can generate your base character's photo. So I'm going to use ZImage. I have it locally installed through SimpliGen. I'm going to use ZImage Turbo, and then I am going to select Generate Base Looks. Now we can see here that we have queued our generation. This is all going to be done locally. And over on the right-hand side here, we can pull up a queue of our generation to see exactly how far along it has come. So we can see here that just after a few seconds, we have generated our base image, and you can select to regenerate if you're not happy with the results. But for the most part, it's going to look the same because these are the preset physical attributes that we have selected throughout the character creation process. So I'm going to use this base, and Alice is ready. We can see that we can view our character. We can enhance the base. I'm going to take Alice and do some generations with our created character now. So if we head over to the Generate tab now, we are going to select to generate an image with our base character. And you have to use one of the edit models that is available on SimpliGen, such as Boogoo Image, Fire Red Image Edit, and the Image Edit local option, which has Flux Client Edit and Quen Image Edit built inside of it. And I'm going to use the Flux Client Edit option. So now we can see the main generation interface with a bunch of customizable inputs that we need to change to get our desired generation. So in the reference images section, you can see that it requires 1 to 4 reference images. But if we just select our character that we've made, Alice, this actually uses the base that we have generated for her as one of the reference images. So once we select Alice, we can see that the tag @Alice is what we need to use to refer to her in our prompting. If we scroll down in this generate interface, we can see that there is a subject and framing section where we can describe the subject and action. But since we have a character created, we're just going to describe our subject as @Alice. You can select a shot type from a large variety of different shot types and POVs. You can describe the environment, the lighting source, and the atmosphere and mood. You can describe the aspect ratio. We're going to do 9:16. And there are more advanced options that you can fiddle around with down here, such as the steps for each generation and the CFG, which I recommend just keeping at 1. There's also a negative prompt section, so anything that you're not wanting in your generation, you can describe in this box. So what I'm going to do is head over to this final prompt section over here at the top, and I am able to select from a variety of different prompts that I have saved inside of the prompt library section within SimpliGen. Let's select prompt number 10. What I'm going to do is just take this entire prompt and put it into the subject and action section. And after a woman, I am going to write our character tag @Alice. So this is the prompt that I'm going to be using, and you can see here, if you have never used the model that you've selected before with SimpliGen and have the VRAM for it, you need to install the preset locally. So in this instance, we would be installing Flux Client Edit locally. These models are rather large in size and can take some time to install, so allow that to download fully if you're using the model locally. However, I'm going to be using SimpliGen's cloud service to generate my images. So let's go ahead and select Generate Cloud. And we can see here that our generation has queued. All right, so our generation is finished. Now we can just head over to the gallery under Assets, and we can see what it has generated. And here we can see that we have generated an image. Now, in my professional opinion, I think that we can get some output that looks much better than this. So let's go back over to the Generate tab and mess around with some settings. So I'm going to be using the same exact prompting here. However, I'm going to switch the aspect ratio to a 1:1 square. And in the more advanced options section, I'm going to bump the steps up to 6. So let's generate again and see what we get with that. All right, so our generation has just finished. So if we head over to the gallery section now, we can see that this generation is much, much better. So I do recommend that you guys mess around with the settings and find what works best for you. Now, I'm going to download this image, and then I'm going to head over to the Enhance section where we can upscale our image. And this will allow us to squeeze out a bunch of extra quality for every one of our generations. So I'm going to be using the RTX Upscaler for images, and then I'm going to select Upscale. So we can see that our generation is completed here. And we can see here that we have a slider. So on the left-hand side is our before, we can see up here. And on the right-hand side is our after. And we can see that if we zoom in, the upscaling has allowed for us to get more texture on the skin, better quality on textures such as the shirt and in the background, the bed there. We can see that it has become much more refined. And they also allow you to use the Seed VR2 upscaler, which I think is a much better model than the RTX upscaler. So if you want to run that, you can install that locally through SimpliGen and use the Seed VR2 upscaler. Now, let's say that you have already invested hours into creating a character LoRA that you want to use for your AI influencer. Just because you switched over to SimpliGen doesn't mean that this was time wasted. You can actually use your character LoRA inside of SimpliGen. So for this next part, I'm going to show you exactly how I do that. I'm going to be using ZImage Turbo running fully locally. So I'm going to head back over to the Generate section, click on Image, and I am going to select ZImage. and then ZImage Turbo. Now, the very first thing that you're going to want to do is select the Add LoRA section here. By default, your LoRA probably will not be recognized because it's not inside of the folder in which it needs to be within the SimpliGen directory. So if you can't find one, you can manage your LoRAs by clicking on this, and then you can select the Add LoRA section here, and you can either upload a file or you can select a LoRA from a URL. Now, I already have my LoRAs uploaded to SimpliGen, so I'm just going to select the character LoRA in which I want to use. You can see here that you are able to select the strength. So now using ZImage Turbo locally, what I'm going to do is use the same exact prompt that I used for generating our image with Alice, and I'm just going to apply that with my character LoRA that I have trained. So I'm just going to put the trigger word for my LoRA inside of this prompt here, use the same exact prompt, and I'm going to do the same thing with the steps here and bump those up to 6. And then you'll see here, since I have already installed the ZImage Turbo model locally on my device through SimpliGen, I'm just going to press generate locally. You probably won't have this option available until you install the preset, so make sure that you do that and allow for some time for the model to install. So our generation has just completed, so now we can head over to the gallery to view it. And here we can see it. And honestly, I'm so impressed with the quality of the output. Some of the generations that I have been able to do with inside of SimpliGen using local models installed to my device are actually better quality than what I've been able to get out of ComfyUI at sometimes. And after upscaling, we can see that the overall fine grain and resolution of the photo has increased drastically. So I really recommend using this upscale feature. It's super awesome that it's built right into SimpliGen. So now I'm going to show you guys how you can make videos with the character that you've created inside of SimpliGen. So the first step is obviously to generate a base image. So this is the base image that we're going to use, just her in the gym. And once we select this base image from the gallery, we can then see that there is the option here to transform this image into a video. So we're going to select to video, and the model that I'm going to be using is LTX 2.3 image to video. And that brings us straight to the generate interface where we can then describe the action, the pose, and what's going on inside of the video. There's also an option here for character dialogue, and I will show you guys exactly how you can use this. So the first step is to obviously create a good prompt. The better your prompt is, and the more descriptive that it is, the better that the video is going to come out, obviously. So I'm shooting for a 7-second video, so we have described this video in 3 different sections here. So the targeted style that I'm going for with this video is like a candid shot in the gym of her friend that just started recording her without her knowing. So for the dialogue, when she notices that she's being recorded by her friend, is just going to be, "Oh my god, hi." We can also select the delivery here from this drop-down list. So we're going to select dramatic. Moving down towards the bottom, we can see here the aspect ratio. We can see that we can set different types of resolution. Keep in mind that the higher that you go in resolution, obviously the more VRAM intensive this is going to be. And then here we can select the duration of the video. So like I said, I was going for a 7-second clip here, so that's what we're going to select in this timing. Now, once we have all of that set up, we can just generate. All right, so our video has just generated. Let's check out the result.
Oh my god. Hi.
All right, so looking back on it, I probably should have prompted that there were some like natural gym noises in the background. It's kind of just a skill issue. LTX 2.3 really is a great model, and it's probably the best local model that you can run. And it really just comes down to upping your prompting game and learning how to prompt things that will make for better videos. But with a few adjustments, this video would be ready to be posted on Instagram right out of the box. It's really just a skill issue at the end of the day. I promise if you get really good at prompting, you can make crazy stuff with LTX 2.3. Now, before we wrap up, I just want to go over again just how much is packed into this thing beyond what we've covered. In the preset store, video tab alone, you've got access to a huge range of models, LTX 2.3 in multiple variants, including a low VRAM version and a GGUF version for older cards. You have WAN 2.2 for text to video, WAN Animate, which drives your character using motion from a reference video, otherwise known as motion control. And there's even a lip sync preset that takes a portrait and an audio clip and syncs it up. And we have additional options for LTX for low VRAM with NSFW support included. And it's not just characters that you can create with SimpliGen. There's a whole product library where you can save reusable product assets and a product studio built specifically around them. In the preset store, the product recipes tab has ready-made setups like a 180-degree product reveal, cinematic product presenter, and a couple hero shot styles, all runnable on cloud in just a few steps. Then in the UGC recipes, you get presets built to combine the two, your character actually presenting or using a product on camera. So if you're doing any kind of ad style content, this isn't just a face generator, it's built to handle the entire pipeline. And that's genuinely the whole point of this app. It's not just one trick, it's a packaged version of a full ComfyUI production pipeline, characters, products, video, upscaling, all in one place with a fraction of the setup. If you want to check out SimpliGen, the link is in the description below. Again, it's a one-time purchase, no subscription, and lifetime updates are included. I couldn't recommend this application enough, and if you end up trying it out, let me know what you make with it.